I think the format of this show lends to really no hard feelings amongst the people that are eliminated. Because it wasn't like a vote or something personal. I didn't even get taken out by another contestant or luck. It was kind of my own undoing, so I had nobody to blame but myself.
Hi, I'm Zachary. I have watched you since Survivor Marquesas, so I still love you on Survivor All Stars and the whole proposal still to this day.
Thank you.
Was so excited to see you on this show, and I was kind of wondering what made this experience of Deal or No Deal Island different than all the seasons of Survivor you've done, Amazing Race, like just every other show you've ever done. Like, what was so unique about this, and like, what does it mean to you?
Yeah, so two things from the outset, I was a huge fan of Deal or No Deal when it was on, when Howie hosted it. You know, when they combined that with the island format, the attraction for me was not only that like it felt like it was in my element with the math-based strategy of the game and of course the island concept, but of course to be part of an inaugural season of something where the rules are not necessarily written already. Like, I would have the opportunity to go in there and kind of, navigate without any previous players having played it and
Mhm.
kind of write the rules as we go. To me, that was the most appealing part. Uh, Obviously, there are lots of differences between this show and the other shows that I've done. Um, the strategy approach to the alliances and stuff I think were a bit overplayed where like there was more of a reliance on your own ability to do well in the challenges and of course getting lucky in a lot
Mhm.
of different spots, and I fully admit that variance is a big part of this game. There was more than one occasion from a lot of different people where had they chose one case versus the other, it completely changes the game. And
Mhm.
that's the same situation in Temple when you're playing the banker, right? Like, because it can always come down to a 50-50 like flip, whether or not, you have the right case, a good deal or a bad deal. It's always going to come down to that if you understand the math of it. So the fact that you're not able to control everything, meaning that you can't control getting immunity and control the bottom and control the vote, something is always going to be out there. At first, I was, like, super irritated by that
Mhm.
because it's like, "Man, there's so much left up," but then I realized, like, there's a lot of genius behind it too, because you can't hold everything, and it's everything's constantly in flux. So from an audience perspective, the fact that, like, you'll never know what's gonna happen week to week, it's not like in Survivor where you have, like, a strong alliance, and that alliance is gonna march to the end. In this show, it's always gonna be up in the air. That was a lot of fun to participate in that. So, I don't know if that answers your question directly, but kinda like
Yeah,
roundabout.
love it. Thank you. Love it
Yeah,
all.
you're welcome. Thanks for being a fan for so long.
Forever, forever. My whole family.
Thanks, Zachary.
Okay, what is up, guys? Just interviewed Boston Rob, and there was a roundtable because Rob is so sought after. So I only got to ask him one specific question, but there was a bunch of other reporters on the call who asked him some really good questions. So I kind of want to recap everything that he said to give you guys a little bit more meat from my interview and call today with Boston Rob from Deal or No Deal Island. So you guys watched the finale last night, and Rob ended up going home. So what had happened was it was between him and Amy who was going to arrive at the end with Jordan and Stephanie, and whoever was the last to arrive from that challenge ended up being eliminated, right? And then the other person who got eliminated had the lowest case, which ended up being Stephanie, if you guys watched the show. So one of the reporters asked Rob how close it was between him and Amy because editing and the way that it was set up for the finale, how close was Rob to passing Amy and beating her? He said he wasn't close. It was by the time he got to his case, Amy was already there. He already kind of heard them cheering. So it wasn't close at all. It was the power of editing. And my personal opinion is that the way they edited that was perfect to kind of lead things into the finale because me and my mom were watching. And as soon as Boston Rob was eliminated, we were like, oh, what? Now we have to keep watching. Like it was such a letdown, but it got us to tune into the finale because we were definitely rooting for Boston Rob. Side note, so happy Jordan won, and I can't wait to talk to her soon. I'm going to be interviewing her, Stephanie, and Amy today on my channel, so should have about 10 minutes with them, so stay tuned for that. But other things Boston Rob said in the call were, one, he didn't think he was like cheating. He was like half listening when Joe was going over the rules for the tiles, and he was kind of looking for different twists or, advantages while Joe was speaking. So he kind of was just half listening, right? So he didn't necessarily realize he was cheating. He doesn't necessarily describe it as cheating, but he did say that he made a mistake and that he should have listened better, and he knows that he was wrong. So that's kind of what happened. He owns it. He made a mistake, and it kind of sucks for him to go out that way, but like, it is what it is. And I think that's also really cool that that's the lesson, right? Like, he's human. He made a mistake. People look up to him. He's Boston Rob, like his kids, all the fans watching. So like, he's just owning it, and like, it kind of sucks, right? But would he have been able to win that challenge if he didn't look at Stephanie's tiles? Or was it Jordan's tiles? Stephanie's, right? Would he have been able to win that challenge? I wanted to ask him that. That was the question I wanted to ask, because like, people were asking him similar questions, but I wanted to directly ask him, like, if he didn't do that and there wasn't that timer, would he have been able to win that challenge and save it? And also, Joe Manganiello, the host of the show, he told Rob that he did actually have a case with like $4 million, 4.7 million. So if Rob was able to get there before Amy, he actually would have made the final two, and then he probably would have beat Jordan in that final challenge, and then he probably would have won the game. So, damn. So that's why I wanted to know, like, if he didn't make that mistake, could those things, but it's always a coulda, shoulda, woulda. And I think it is what it is. And I think at the end of the day, Jordan was the right person who deserved to win. I also thought it was just really interesting how the whole season, right, the high case number is getting bigger and bigger, the pot money, right, the prize. And it got up to $13.8 million. And I don't know if some fans were confused or not, whether they were actually going to win the 13 million, Jordan, but I kind of figured it out that it was the prize money at the end was ultimately going to be what you were playing for in the final game of Deal or No Deal Island. And I will say I loved seeing Howie Mandel be the banker. That was like so predictable. How did no one think of that? Or did everyone already know? They showed it last week, like Howie's shoes and like whatever. And I didn't even like see it really. I was like, whatever. But then as soon as he was coming out of the helicopter and we saw his legs and stuff, like 5 seconds before they showed Howie's face, I said to my mom, I was like, it's Howie. I knew it was Howie. So I called it. And I loved how Howie like had that moment with Claudia. You're my number one, Deal or No Deal. But back to Rob, someone also asked him about Traders, if he would ever do Traders, ever be on Traders. It definitely intrigues him. He's seen the show. Time will tell. He said that he would probably be a faithful, which I think he was already strategizing on this call because people are going to report on this. Everyone would assume he's a trader. He has to go on the show. I don't think that he's going to be on this season because they're like about to film, and like there was some rumors about the Traders cast, like yesterday? Like maybe Paris Hilton and Jax Taylor and Teresa. I don't know if that's confirmed, but I think Rob could do it next year, hopefully. I would love to see him on Traders. You guys saw my question. I definitely wanted to pay homage to Survivor because I grew up watching him on Survivor Marquesas, Survivor All-Stars, Survivor Heroes versus Villains, Survivor Redemption Island, Survivor Winners at War. And then I kind of like tuned out of Survivor in like the mid 30s when he like came back and they had that statue of him. Like I saw parts of that, but I loved him on the early seasons. So I had to shout out Amber and their proposal, which still to this day is such an iconic moment in pop culture history. Can we please just have a moment for Rob's proposal to Amber on Survivor All-Stars? Like I will never forget that. So I'm glad that I brought that up. I liked my question. I did want to ask more questions. I would love like more time to ask him questions about the show if possible. But I did want to also ask him about Aaron and his bromance with Aaron and just kind of like that. That was like my number one question. I thought it was funny when he played the game and he was listing all like his kids like numbers and like family numbers in his family. And then it was getting like high amounts and everyone was like, why do you keep doing this? And he responded to like one of my comments on Instagram and he was like, it was working because he ended up, winning the Deal or No Deal Island game, whatever. He also said that, Stephanie was kind of, a drama starter. She was a pot star the whole season. She made up a lot of lies. She definitely was a rough player. And Kim, he has no regrets voting Kim out. He said that on the call as well, because Kim was going around to everyone any chance she could to tell everybody that Boston Rob had to go and he had to go because he was such a threat. And then she was being like fake to his face. He also said that Nick, he respected a lot as an opponent, and like he had kind of had to get him out. So those were just like the general things he said from the call. And you guys saw my question with him. So yeah, that is all. So thank you guys so much for watching this video or listening. Give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and stay tuned for my interviews later with Stephanie, Jordan, and Amy. Bye, guys.